Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Monday the 15th of February. In McShane's reading scheme, today we're reading from Genesis chapter 48 and the second part of Luke chapter 1. And there's a common theme between them. In the Genesis passage, Joseph brings his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to his father Jacob for him to bless them. And he wants him to put his right hand on the older Manasseh and his left hand on the younger. But Jacob switches his hands over. And when Joseph sees this, he tries to correct him and says, no, Manasseh's the older. You must put your right hand on his head because he has primacy. And in verse 19, we're told, but his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He too will become a people, and he too will become great. Nevertheless, his younger brother will be greater than he, and his descendants will become a group of nations. And he blessed them. And so for no apparent reason, Jacob just says, the younger will be greater than the older, completely against the expectations and the norms of society. And we see the same thing in the passage from Luke, where we have the Magnificat, Mary's hymn of praise, where she sort of gives praise to God for what he's done. From verse 46, Mary said, my soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour, for he's been mindful of the humble state of his servant. And Mary was quite clear of her humility and that she deserved nothing and had nothing to claim what God had done, and it was entirely his grace and his doing. And that's how God works. And then down to verse 51, he has performed mighty deeds with his arms. He has scattered those who are proud in their inmost thoughts. He has brought down rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. He has filled the hungry with good things, but has sent the rich away empty. And here we have this image of a God that just turns things on its head. Those who are proud are scattered. The rulers are brought down and become nothing. And those who are nothing and humble are elevated. The hungry are fed and the well-fed, and the rich go away empty-handed. And God does completely the reverse of what society would expect. And we live in a society where there is an order and a pecking order, and people are very keen to be higher up the social ladder and more respected, and the higher up you are, the more people defer to you. And it's all the way through, from little children in the preschool who are trying to work out which of us is taller, and they stand trying to measure each other, which of us is taller, because that will give you some kind of status. Right through to the Forbes 500, which companies are biggest and which are the best CEOs. And God says all of that is of no consequence whatsoever. The way the world measures people counts for nothing. And God will use the humble, and God will use the great. God will use anyone that is prepared to let him work with them. And so it's an encouragement to us, or certainly to me, that we have no claims, and if we step out into the world, we'll be of no consequence. And yet, God chooses us and calls us and works with us and works in us and works through us. Not because we deserve it, not because we earn it, not because there's anything in us. It is because we serve a great God who will do great things with the least likely people. And as you read through the scriptures, you see this time and time again. And so we echo Mary's hymn of praise. My soul glorifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour, for he's been mindful of the humble state of his servant. Know that we are all humble before God, and yet he uses us. Know that and be blessed.